Hello and welcome to my channel, Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do the reading for the lunar eclipse that has taken place today. It's the 19th of November and this is the second part of the reading that I'm doing. So this is the tarot card part of the reading. I've already done the astrology part, which has just uploaded. Again, it's taken some time as I did the astrology part yesterday to try and get it out there earlier, but the uploading and processing part of it has been a long time again, so I'm kind of drawn back with that again. So hopefully it will all be done before I get round to managing to get this one out as well. But this is the second part for the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus that has just taken place today. That long 6-hour lunar eclipse, which is going to have a massive effect on everything that is going on in our lives from now right the way through until 2022. It's a big eclipse, so if you're interested in finding out more about the astrology side of it, then check out my intuitive astrology, my interpretation of the astrology, that will be going out very soon. So I'm going to start the reading today in a slightly different way. I want to read from the angel script these two cards which fell out together. Normally I would do this at the end, but today I feel like doing it at the beginning of the reading to see what it is that we're being told for the full moon energy. So we have Gabriel and we have Ruha HaKodesh, if that's how you pronounce that one. We've had this one before. So Gabriel is change, which is interesting because we also have the lunar eclipse energy itself here as well, which is also change. So that is exactly what we are going to be able to expect, is change, big change. And Gabriel says the messages from the divine and heralds change. Sometimes change comes as a shock, sometimes it shifts us lightly. When Gabriel invades our lives, it demands our wholehearted attention. We are not permitted to ignore the requests of the divine. Our lives may be overturned and we may feel that chaos has entered. In order to move forward, the old and the outworn must be stripped away, which is kind of coming through very strongly as the Uranus energy that is happening in our lives at this time. Very chaotic, very stormy. Uranus relates to shock, surprises, unexpected things happening out of the blue. So Gabriel is the guide to the underworld. Trust in this and you will be transported across the silent river without coming to harm. Gabriel requires surrender to the intentions of the divine. But we have already entered into an agreement to fulfill certain obligations. We are only being reminded of our commitment. Before we were born, we contracted to grow and develop to fulfill a vision, which we set ourselves willingly with the advice of our divine parents. Now we are being reminded of promises made earlier. We knew that Gabriel would watch out for us, and if we strayed from the true path, would use all its powers to call our attention back to our self-appointed goal, which is interesting again as well, because that is exactly what a lunar eclipse does. It kind of shifts you back onto the path that you were on if you've kind of strayed away from that path, or it can set you onto a completely new path, which is the path that you're supposed to be on. So Gabriel may startle you, but its guidance is true. It may arrive with a request or a gift, Be assured if Gabrielle presents itself to you, your life will be enriched, not threatened. Such a visitation means no more nor less than a reminder of your purpose. Gabrielle does not always speak directly, but may drop hints and use tricks to call you to attention. Watch out for small pointers and signs along the curbside, since you will not necessarily see a sign lit up with bright lights. So basically saying that look out for these kind of signposts in your life that kind of are directing you where you need to be, or where we need to be, which is quite interesting as well, with the North Node energy being the energy that is taking place at the time of this lunar eclipse as well. Our direction. So the Ruach Kodesh energy is the Holy Spirit, and it is an empty room where all is silent, perfect and complete. It is an abyss into which we step in faith, knowing that the divine seeks only what is good for us. This room is veiled with a cloud of unknowing, but when we surrender to its oblivion, we shall know even as we are known. In the arms of the Holy Spirit, we abandon our daily selves and meet with our own greater self, in order that we may live our lives truly, according to the desires of the guiding principles of the true self. Often, this loss will be accompanied by great sadness, which is very much a kind of scorpionic energy that is around during this full moon lunar eclipse as well, because the sun being in Scorpio is the energy that is being cut off at this time as well, and there's a lot of emotion that is going to be dealt with over these coming weeks and months. Surprise emotions, long held emotions, emotions that we've buried really deeply. Scorpio for me is like the emotional graveyard. It's where we bury things that we no longer want to deal with or look at or recognize. And this full moon lunar eclipse is going to really bring everything back up to the surface for us. So it may come after great struggle, during which we feel we are fighting to survive, which is very appropriate at this time, with all the Pluto energy that's around us as well. Scorpio energy, Pluto himself playing a big part in the astrology at the moment. To keep our sense of purpose and direction. So, sorry, I'll read that again. It may come after great struggle, during which we feel we are fighting to survive, to keep our sense of purpose and direction. But when the self abandons itself to the love of the Holy Spirit, what seems a loss becomes a prize beyond calculation, a golden gift of bliss and pure joy. After a time of darkness comes the light of the divine. And we're certainly in a time of darkness at this moment of our lives. So when we step into the room which beckons, we enter the great mystery. We move forward without maps or directions into unknown territory, which is again where we are as we're moving out of the Piscean age and into the Aquarian age. We don't really know exactly where we're heading, exactly what's going to happen as we move further into our future. We give up all our intellectual desires for understanding and explaining, and allow ourselves to fall into a no space, a void in which rational considerations have no place. We can never know the Holy Spirit with our usual thinking minds, only with our innermost being. When we move into this space, we are coming home. Our souls meet with the Holy of Holies and are dipped into the divine light. It's a very beautiful energy. Guidance and being reminded in many ways of who we are and where we come from. And interestingly, there's a star or a dwarf planet that was also at the time of this lunar eclipse conjunct the moon, known as Sedna, and Sedna's story is very profound and very, very much the story of what is happening right now in our lives collectively and also individually for most of us as well. And I actually go through the story in the astrology reading that I've just done. So if you're interested in finding out more about the story of Sedna and her profound transformation, which is where we are all at this time, then again check out my video from the astrology side of this. So let's get into the actual reading here. I just want to see what's on the bottom. We have the 10 of air in reverse on the bottom of the deck, and that is saying to me that things are slow in coming to a conclusion or to an ending, painful ending as well, but something, again, if you see all these feathers being released, that's very much the kind of theme at this time. Painful, it's that kind of sense of something that we may not want to release or let go. Scorpio likes to hold on, Taurus likes to hold on as well. They're both signs like Scorpio can become very obsessed with things and not want to let things go. And Taurus likes to hold on purely because of the safety and security in holding on to something, even if it's no longer of value to them. So that's kind of where I'm seeing this card going here. So let's see what else we have. We start off the reading properly with the Emperor energy here in reverse. And what I was getting from this card was, I kept getting the word like law unto themselves. Law unto themselves and kind of badass was what was coming through. This is an energy, I feel that this is, because it's the Emperor, this is the energy of those that kind of put themselves above everybody else. It's probably one of the best ways to put this, but it's in reverse. So instead of being an emperor who, or a ruler, shall we say, who has the best interests of his subjects or the people that he is supposed to be looking after, having their best interests at heart, he really doesn't give a damn. He is all out for himself. He is completely selfish. This doesn't have to be a individual. This can be that collective energy, which we're kind of dealing with at this time, that very kind of patriarchal, masculine energy. The controlling energy is probably how it's best to put. And if you think of the lion as well, if you think of the lion and the lioness, the lion is actually very, very lazy, and he actually expects everything to be done for him. And it's the lioness who actually does all of the hunting and the raising of the family. And so this is kind of saying to me that this is that kind of energy of, again, I think the best way to put it is just that it's somebody, or it's the energy of law unto themselves. A law unto themselves above the law, which is interesting because we've also got this Justice card here as well, which has come out over the top of this Emperor energy as the blocking energy, the challenging energy here. But it also come out with the King of Water. So the King of Water relates to the emotional, caring, kind, considerate, compassionate, loving, service to others type of energy, which is everything that this energy isn't. So this is like the very opposite of this energy here. So, and I'm seeing this in a kind of way that It's almost like we ourselves have to take care of ourselves, is what's coming through here. With the Justice card, I know the Justice card is usually seen as the Libra card. For me, I tend to see it more as the Gemini card, as Gemini energy, very kind of analytical. But it's kind of saying to me that that the challenge is for us to kind of look after ourselves here, to find our own justice, our own sense of fairness within things, our own moral stand on things, and come from a place of love and compassion, and that in doing so we can't go wrong. We will be, because I see this little fish here, and this little fish is kind of like, he's holding out his hand. This little fish is kind of saying that, you know, no matter how small or how unimportant, shall we say, something may appear to be, in the bigger scheme of things, nothing is unimportant. Everything counts. And that this energy here is kind of I want to say it's going to see this side of the, like the truth, the sword of truth that she's holding in her hand here. It's like it cannot be, you can't run from it, you can't hide from it. Karmically, this is really a karmic energy. It's kind of saying that what you reap, sorry, what you sow is what you reap. And that's kind of where we are heading with this energy. It's getting to that point of having to answer to yourself. Is kind of how that's coming through. And that it's better to be kind and considerate and kind of and welcoming and loving to all beings, rather than just those that are in a way, it's like, where would you rather be? On which side of history as well would you rather be? It keeps going up the wrong way. Which side of history would you rather be on? This kind of indolent, kind of lazy, unlawful, self-indulgent energy, or there's this energy which is caring, compassionate, loving, giving, thinking of others. So what's in our head at this time is the Three of Swords here, and the Three of Swords for me is like the Ghost card. The Three of Swords is always a painful situation. It's in reverse here. And again, it feels like the letting go of something, or the kind of like having to leave something behind, having to walk away from something, and we may be again reluctant to do so. That reluctance is there again in this Ten of Swords energy. The need to let go of the past. And there may be a lot of reflection with this card as well at this time. For me, this talks very much about the Scorpio energy of really having to release old baggage, old emotional feelings, trauma, things that we're still attached to, things that we're still kind of being affected by in our lives. And that's individually again as well as collectively. But this is kind of one of the bigger messages at this time. Scorpio season is all about kind of changing, transformation, rebirth, and you can't do that if you're still holding on to your old life, your old baggage, the person that you have been, where you're coming from, needs to be let go of in order to make the space for something new to come in and allow that change. So this is kind of how I'm seeing this full moon energy. And then we have 3 more cards here as well, and this is the energy of what's moving away. We have temptation, which is also the devil energy, which can in itself be obsessive energy. So again, this could relate to Scorpio. It can also relate to our fears, bringing up our deepest fears, but this is the energy that's moving away. So we have been in that kind of situation, in kind of, it feels like a sense of having been tricked into believing something was supposed to be better than it actually was. It's like a bittersweet pill that's been swallowed, is how it's coming through. Temptation, you can see all that gold at the side there. So it can also be to do with, like, again, obsessive, toxic. It's very much Scorpio energy, Pluto energy, the devil kind of energy. Addictions, toxic lifestyle. Again, with this chest here, all that glitters or glistens isn't always gold. So even though we may believe that we've been living good, fulfilled lives, we're kind of realizing that maybe it wasn't as great as we were kind of led to believe. Because we also have the Messenger of Earth here, and the Messenger of Earth is in reverse. So this is about the kind of environment, our physical realm. Our environment, physical, the work we do, even all those things that we have to do in order to survive, really, is what's coming through for me with this card. What keeps us alive? But because it's in reverse, it also feels again like a false message, like something that we've been led to believe was true but wasn't necessarily how it actually was. So kind of a deception energy here as well, or buying into something that wasn't necessarily, like, because Earth can also be about value. So it may have been what we thought was valuable, but it turned out not to be so valuable. Like putting our value into outside things rather than into ourselves, which is what I'm seeing with this Hermit card coming through here. And the Hermit card is kind of saying to me that the truth, with all those keys above there as well, it's like the truth lies within. We need to go within in order to find ourselves, because that's the real gold, not this fool's gold, if you like, which is the message that we've been given for so long. And trusting those who have that kind of authority and power, because these are both very authority power cards. The Devil and the Emperor, or Temptation and the Emperor. So the Hermit, I see this as this kind of isolating energy, shall we say, that we've all kind of been put into and are still kind of in on some level. Retreating within, discovering more about ourselves, really getting to the core of things, the heart of the matter. Because I'm seeing this kind of number 9 here, just not with the 9 in it, just as this kind of flash of light here, almost like a sudden kind of awakening, a realization. Because when I look at it, I'm not seeing the 9, I'm just seeing the white and the light. And this little face that is there behind this white light is kind of who's been illuminated, if you like, and that's us, that's the awakening that is taking place now, because we've been forced into this situation of going within ourselves. There's been lots of questioning things, people wakening up to things that they believed were one way but have actually turned out to be something completely different. And in the subconscious realm of what we're not so aware of, with the Ten of Fire, is this sense of trying to make sense of it all. But at the same time, kind of having to release it as well. It's that sense of kind of like setting fire to things, setting it alight. Like done with that, done with that, done with that. Again, it kind of goes very succinctly, if you like, with this 10 here of releasing, and releasing it kind of like in a creative, fashion. It kind of feels that this has kind of brought this about as well, in a way, on this deeper subconscious level, as we've gone within ourselves, deeper within ourselves. We've kind of found all of this stuff, which again is this Scorpio kind of energy that we've been in for the whole of the Scorpio season. There's been a lot of things that have been coming out, particularly in the media. But also within our own lives as well. But again, there's this sense of wanting to hold on, like even as we set fire to it, to release it, to purify it, to let it go. There's this sudden kind of sense of, oh, have I done the right thing? Should I do that? Should I let it go? Do I still need it? How's it going to affect me? So there's that sense of kind of like still holding on to things. That we really do need to release on a much deeper level. Again, this is like a collective reading, so this can be individually. And it can also mean that we literally need to clear out space in our lives as well, like physical space in our lives. It can relate to anything, any one of these burning flames here, burning, because what she's doing is burning pages. If you look at the card carefully, you can see that they are pages from a book, but the book is like our history, it's like our story, individually and collectively. And it's also kind of saying, you know, that once it's burnt through, then it's gone, it's released, and we can move on. As a 10, 10s are always final energies, final endings, the ending of something. 10 is a completion. And interestingly, what we have coming in is the Ace of Fire. And we are just about to move into Sagittarius season as well. And we are just about to have a solar eclipse on the 4th of December with the South Node. The South Node being the node of release and letting go, which is why this whole kind of period of time leading right up into 2022 is kind of about letting go, releasing what is no longer valid, what is no longer working for us in our lives. So that, as I was saying, to make that space, because the Ace is all about new energy coming in. So when we let go and release all of this that we no longer need to carry mentally, emotionally, even creatively, we can make space for the new to come in, which is what the Ace of Fire is saying for me here. New energy is going to come in, particularly I feel around this solar eclipse. Sagittarius energy. Sorry about that, I was just kind of seeing if there was anything else that was relevant here. I mean, it's very autumn looking as well. A lot of fire energy. Fire is creativity, enthusiasm, excitement. It just feels like a fresh burst of creative drive. And kind of, again, kind of blasting through things, kind of clearing out that old energy, which is how I'm kind of seeing all of this around here. Is all of the old energy again being kind of burnt through, like the old stagnant, no longer needed or working for us type of energy. And it doesn't literally mean kind of setting fire to everything, although there could be certain places on the planet that are going to become quite fiery, shall we say. So let's see what else we have in our environment that we're dealing with at this time. We have the Seven of Earth, which is the first Earth, no it's not, it's the second Earth energy that we have here. I always see this card as the kind of distraction card. Kind of like, don't look over there, look over here kind of feel about this. And she's kind of also adding to this because there's a little fairy sitting, I don't know if you can see her, she's kind of sitting on the top of that lantern there, and she's actually clutching a little red heart to her chest. And there she is, she's kind of appeared again in the Seven of Earth. But I see this as the distraction card of something that is distracting us away from something that is actually very important. So it's kind of like keeping our attention. It's like these feathers are where our attention is supposed to be, if you like. It's like on some level, kind of psychically, we know that there is something else that we should be taking more notice of, but we're more fascinated or interested by this little fairy type creature who's just kind of turned up out of nowhere to kind of distract us. So it's kind of saying to me that watch out for distractions that are going to be kind of put in our path at this time, to stop us from really tuning into what is important and what really matters. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted on your path by things that seem to be I'm going to take it back to this energy here as well, with this angel that's laying on this apple, by things that seem to be what's the word I'm looking for here? Seem to be I keep getting the word valuable, but for some reason that's not the word that I want to say. Important, fascinating, interesting. It's like just some things that are going to kind of try and distract our attention away from the things that are really important at this time. Don't get easily distracted, is what the Seven of Earth is saying to me here. Stay on the path. And of course there could be something very alluring about this as well. Something that seems more than it is how it's coming through. Because we have the Five of Air coming through after this card as well. And the Five of Air is about putting ourselves in difficult, challenging situations. If you see there, she's kind of balanced on this tightrope. Very, very, very precarious situation is kind of how it seems, and that's really how we may be feeling at this time as well, that we are in this kind of really precarious place, and it's like we can't put a foot wrong, and almost like we've got into this place of like not wanting to move, like this kind of comfort zone or this comfortable place. It's like, now I'm here, I don't want to move from this position. So this could also be a kind of stubborn or fixed energy. There's a lot of fixed air energy around at this time. In air, we have Saturn, which is the great malefic. He's also the kind of energy that blocks us, restricts us. So even if we want to kind of move forward, we may find that our path is blocked, or something is distracting us and stopping us from actually getting to where we want to be. And then we have in our hopes and fears the Seven of Air. And the Seven of Air for me today is saying this is about kind of family and community and kind of coming together. Even if we don't all see eye to eye, even if we don't agree with each other, even if it's very Aquarian energy is how I'm seeing this today. And Aquarius is all about the individual within the collective. So it's like she's surrounded by all these birds, all these different types of birds as well. And it's almost like she herself is trying to kind of fit in and convince them that she's also of the same family. And so for me today, this card's coming through with that energy of, you know, our differences are just as important as agreeing or seeing the same things in the same way. It's like, look to see what we have in common rather than what we have that is so different. Because it's the things that we have in common that we are going to come together on, unify on. And this is our hopes and our fears as well. So there is also that fear of kind of like being pushed out of the family situation, or not being able to find people who you connect with on that same level. The tribe, those who have the same ideas. Because this for me is also about kind of grassroots coming together, grassroots, new ideas coming in to create something as a whole. But we have as our last card here the Chariot in reverse. And so the Chariot in reverse is kind of saying that things are kind of at this time at a halt. There's kind of a block. Things aren't moving forward. We are not in the driver's seat, almost like we are being driven, not actually doing the driving. So it's kind of saying to me that we aren't really in control at this time, and that's something that we need to kind of focus our attention on, which is what this was saying to me at the beginning of the read. That we need to ask ourselves, who controls our lives? Is it us or is it others? because it should be us. We should be the one who controls our journey, where we go, what we do, when we do it, how we do it. Because also, if we're not in control, then we're also not karmically in control either of our lives. And then anything can happen. Anything can happen to us. And then we need to take the reins back, is also the message here. So we have at the bottom of this deck the Six of Coins, and the Six of Coins can be about compromise, balance again with those scales there. We've got that in the Justice card here as well. She also has the scales right there, tipping of the balance in our favour. But the Six of Coins can also be about kind of just being, what's the word? Kind of just being given just enough in order to get by. So not having the full amount. The full amount is kind of being kept away from us. It's kind of like being dished out, if you like. You can have this, but you can't have that kind of energy. And so we have the Eight of Wands over the top of all of this energy here. So this is messages. The Eight of Wands, it talks about, for me, it also talks about things getting easier when it's upright. About life kind of moving forward, flowing forward. But again, it feels like, because it can be to do with communication and messages and kind of receiving messages. Again, it feels like, you know, taking notice. Taking notice, because if we don't take notice, then we never really know exactly what's going on. So it's saying we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity to change that direction. Five of Coins over the top of the Three here. The Three of Swords, the ghost energy, the past energy, what we're needing to let go of. And the Five of Coins, again, it kind of goes with that Six of Coins that I was talking about earlier. It's that kind of like not having enough. Focusing on not having. Being left out in the cold. Which is again that kind of, you know, it's that fear for a lot of people at this time. What's rising up for people at this time, it is all about survival. The Five of Coins really is kind of about survival, and it's about other people's goodwill as well. As I was kind of saying here, with this energy, with the King of Water and the Justice card here, about compassion and kindness and looking after other people as well, taking care, not just thinking only of the self, like this energy here. So the Five of Coins can bring up a lot again of that fear energy of being abandoned. And we have the King of Wands over the top of all of this energy here. And King of Wands is that fiery element, the passionate, driving, action-oriented energy. Sagittarius, Leo, Aries energy, forcing something. But it's also, the King of Wands is also an energy of the self, because it is Aries energy, as I was saying, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Aries and Leo especially, are they kind of very focused on themselves or on ourselves energy? Mars, the ego, the fire, the drive, the passion, going beyond something. And really being drawn to that crown that he's wearing on his head as well. It's very, if you look at that crown, it's very spiky, it's very, I mean, it looks quite lethal, to be honest. It's got quite a kind of lethal, like, don't mess with me kind of look about it. There's also a very strong confidence in this card as well, with this energy, a strong confidence, confident energy of who they are. This person knows who they are, or this energy knows what it's about. And it feels like that's kind of where we have discovered a lot about ourselves. Through this energy. With this Hermit energy here as well, this kind of going within, finding our fire, our passion, our drive, what makes us tick, what it is that we want out of life. Let's see what we have. I'm sure one just flipped. I just need to find it. Certain there was one that flipped. Maybe it flipped. Oh no, there it is. It's another fire energy and a 10 again. Another 10. Oh, okay. So we've got 10 of fire on top of 10 of fire. which is really kind of confirming the message here, really doubling down on that message of letting go of the baggage. Because here as well, which is interesting, he's not holding that baggage. He's no longer like when it's up the right way, he's actually carrying all that baggage. But when it's up this way, it's like he's found some way to get on top of it so that it doesn't break his back. So it's kind of saying to me that it has, or it is being released. This is the subconscious level, so we may not even be aware that this is what is happening at this time, that we are letting all of this go. And this is also, for me, it feels like generational as well, like baggage from the past of family, generations of family history. And this could also be what this is here as well. Like sifting through, sorting through our generational history in order to let it go. So it's interesting that that one should come out in reverse. And I feel that that's what it's saying, is that even though we're not aware that it has, that we are letting it go, it is happening. And then we have the Moon card over the top in reverse, over the top of this fire energy here. So the Ace of Fire, Ace of Wands energy with the Moon energy in reverse. For me, when the Moon's in reverse, it kind of talks about hidden depths. It's more new moon energy than full moon energy for me. And it is the new moon that's coming up, funnily enough. That's what I was talking about with this here, saying how it related to the solar eclipse for me. And this is actually interesting because the new moon always happens, or there's the solar eclipse, sorry, always happens at the time of the new moon. So the lunar eclipse always happens when the moon is full, and the solar eclipse is always when the moon and the sun are together. So that's really interesting that they should have come out like that. Again, it feels like things that have been hidden, or things that are hidden, will come to light. And I'm seeing that because of this mirror here and all these bats kind of flying out of it. Bats can relate to like rebirth. In Native American mythology, the bats are a symbol of rebirth, I do believe. And so these bats are kind of flying out of this mirror, which is kind of like representing the moon energy. And of course it is going to be It is going to be the moon that is going to cover the sun. So it's speaking to me about hidden depths, about hidden truths that are going to come to the surface. More secrets that are going to be seen. More things that are going to be revealed. Moon again represents the emotions, intuition, the new moon talks about planting a new seed, something new, but it feels more like an energy of feels like a cleansing energy, actually, like something being cleaned out, something being refreshed, with these two energies together, the masculine and the feminine being together. So we have over the top of the Seven of Earth the distraction and don't get distracted energy, the Emperor again, in reverse again. So again, a double message, very strongly being put in play here. Don't get distracted is what it's saying to me. Don't fall for the don't fall for the lies, don't fall for the yeah, the deceit. Because the Emperor here is representing like a metropolis, like he is the builder and the kind of controller energy, shall we say, of what here is this city, obviously, that he has built, and he's now kind of standing over the top of it as the god-like entity, shall we say, who has control. And that's kind of what it's saying to me here, is that distraction from this energy is very powerful. It's very powerful. It knows what it's doing. It knows how to deceive, how to distract. How to hold on to. What it's like. It feels like that past energy again, not wanting to let something go, wanting to remain in control of something, in control of life. And again, it's that kind of sense of being above everything else, being above the law, being above kind of like this is such a big energy, and everything else is kind of happening down here is kind of really small, like ant-like in a way. So it could also be relating to that kind of hive mind that I've been speaking about on and off for a while, that hive mind of kind of like being a part of something that is being taken over, wanting to fit in, wanting to be the same as everybody else. It's a very strong, controlling energy. And then we have the Magician over the top of this Five of Air. So this is saying to me that this is a challenging and difficult situation and time that we're in here, that we've kind of maneuvered or been maneuvered into. But the Magician, is saying that we have the skill set to get through this. To get beyond this. We have everything that we need, because the Magician works with all the elements. The Magician understands the swords. The mind represents the thought. The thought is fed by our passion, our drive, and our emotions, which is the cups. So we have the sword, we have the wand, which is that creative spark, that creative drive, if you like. So the thought that is set fire to by that wand, it's kind of like feeds that energy. And then the emotions come, and the emotions kind of carry it forward. How do we feel about something? How much do we feed our desire into it? And from that point, we then can manifest into the physical realm, which is the pentacle down here. We manifest it into this physical realm. And this is something that I think, I've said this before as well, the law of attraction energy is something that we are going to become much, much more aware of as we move further into this Aquarian age. I see the Magician energy as being very Aquarian energy. It's the higher mind, it's Uranus, it's ruled by the Uranian energy. Although here they have the Magician as Mercury, I think the Magician is higher than the Mercury energy. Mercury is our everyday, day-to-day events or life, the way that we do things on a day-to-day level is Mercury. Communication, travel. For me, the Magician is the higher energy, the Uranus energy, the higher mind, bringing that higher energy, the higher mind energy into our physical realm. So it's kind of saying to me that we are going to get out of this difficult situation, and the way we're going to do it is by realizing that we attract what it is that we are focusing our attention on. So the more that we focus on what we don't want, the more of what we don't want is what we're going to receive. So being in this kind of difficult situation here that we've been maneuvered into, if we kind of keep focusing on how awful and negative it all is, then we're going to see more of that in our personal everyday lives. So the Magician is all about manifesting something better, bringing something better into the equation. And I see it as an awakening energy as well. An awakening to the reality of how it actually is. How it all really works. Which is what this energy here already knows and understands. And has kept hidden from all of these little ants, shall we say, down here, the working ants that power and keep things going. And yet at the end of the day don't understand how powerful they actually are, because they've never been allowed to learn it or to understand it. It's that secret kind of world that has been kept hidden. And isn't going to be kept hidden forever. So over the Seven of Air in our hopes and fears, we have the Eight of Swords, which is more a sense of seeing this as an escape. These swords to me at the moment look like the medical procedure that, I think I've said this before, that is being kind of forced onto us, and I see this person here as somebody who's trying to escape that energy, but he's kind of caught up in the bubble, the reality. And again, this is our hopes and our fears. And it's kind of saying to me that it is just a bubble, because it is all of the mind. That we can trap ourselves in our hope, in our own fears. Again, this kind of energy here, getting trapped and caught in what we fear by focusing our attention on it. And that's really what the Eight of Swords does. It's like the more you feed it, the more you look into it, the more you read about it, the more you listen to what you're being told over and over again, the more you just keep yourself trapped in that belief that you can't do anything about it, that you are not the driver of your own vehicle. And also with this Seven of Air as well, there is also again this kind of feeling that fitting in order to fit in, you have to do what everybody else is doing, but not everybody else is doing the same thing. So the Eight of Swords can be about breaking free of that mind trap, that mind games that are played on us over and over again. And it is our own mind that does it, but we also do it to ourselves because we allow ourselves to stay caught in that loop, if you like, that trap of believing that we're powerless. It can kind of be a victim card as well, the Eight of Swords. But we have, as the final energy here, the Six of Swords in reverse, along with the Chariot, sorry. So again, there is this feeling of really kind of going nowhere and doing nothing, of being blocked, of nothing really seeming to change. The Six can talk about coming out of stormy waters into calmer seas, but when it's in reverse, for me, it's kind of saying that we're not quite in that space, especially with the Chariot in reverse as well. It's kind of again doubling down on that message of things not moving forward. And that could be due to that Saturn energy that we have at this time. Saturn in Aquarius. As I was saying earlier, Saturn in Aquarius can control and block and keep us very much stuck, which is kind of where the Eight of Swords could be coming in as well. Saturn. Swords being the mind, air energy, Saturn being in Aquarius, which is air energy, kind of stopping the flow of things. So I'm just going to pull a couple of cards from this deck. I've actually mixed two decks together here. So we've got the Divine Feminine and also the Wild Offering cards mixed together. Don't know why, it just felt like a good thing to do. So we'll see how it goes. I'd like a message for the collective, please, source. Source of all that is, all that has ever been, and all that is yet to be and is coming into being. What is the message for the collective at the time of this full lunar eclipse in Taurus? What is it you would like to tell us? Six of Swords also talks about moving away to a new destiny, if you like, a new future. So we have Saraswati, the goddess of self-knowledge. And it says, the essence of who I am flows effortlessly into everything I create. One more. One more. Which is kind of similar to that magician card I was talking about. Oh, there we go. Saraswati. I'm not sure where the... Oh, here we go. It's down here. Quick look at what she has to say here. Page 80. Oh, page 79. Page 80. Okay, so she represents the self-knowledge of who we are, so that nothing impedes the flow of creativity from the soul. Her name translates then, so her name is a fusion of the Sanskrit words for essence and oneself. Saraswati's name translates then as the one who leads to the essence of self-knowledge. She is part of the Hindu goddess trinity, the Tridevi, together with Parvati and Lakshmi. All those goddesses help the trinity of Hindu gods Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva to create, maintain and regenerate the universe. The earliest mention of Saraswati is in the Rig Veda, a collection of ancient sacred texts that date back to 1500 BC. She is sometimes referred to as the mother of the Vedas and is understood to be the personification of knowledge. I'll quickly show you the card. Students appeal to her for assistance on exams, and writers and artists pray to her to remove all the obstacles that keep them from being a clear conduit for the creativity that wants to come through them. She is considered to be a river goddess or a feminine deity with healing flowing waters. She is venerated as the goddess of music, the arts and learning. Oh, sorry. Moving across the front of that there. Because of this association with waters that heal and purify, her iconography often associates her with a white lotus, which is what I believe she's holding in her hand there, symbolizing the purity of wisdom her energy brings. And the other card that fell out for us is True Love, and it says, your wholeness and satiety lie within, not from a partner, but this sovereignty actually leads to the deepest intimacy for you to stop, sorry, it's a bit difficult to read, stop using others. Let me stand on my own. Sorry, let me stand on my own feet, dear Lord, and know true love. So your wholeness and satiety lie within, not from a partner. But this sovereignty actually leads to the deepest intimacy for you to stop using others. Let me stand on my own feet, dear Lord, and know true love. Which is interesting again, because that is kind of the energy of the Venus, planet Venus, which is the ruler of Taurus, where we are having this full moon lunar eclipse. So it is about self-love, it is about nurturing, taking care of ourselves first. in order to be able to take care of others as well, we have to love ourselves first. And so with all that being said, I'm going to leave the reading there and say thank you very much to those of you who have come across to watch and listen to it. If you are interested in finding out more about the astrology, as I said, there will be the astrology side of it put up as well, and there will also be a link in the description box below for you to go and find out more about your own personal astrology. For those of you who just want to watch the tarot side, that's also fine. If you could like my videos, that really helps as well. If you thumbs them up, then YouTube tends to take a little bit more notice. I'm really trying to still grow my channel. I know I haven't done that much on it recently, various reasons that I'm not going to go into. My daughter's wedding was one of them, so I will say that, like, my daughter getting wed was quite a biggie, and I didn't manage to get round to doing the Scorpio new moon video, which was a bit of a shame. So yeah, please subscribe, please like. Thank you very much to those of you who have already done so. I do really appreciate you being here and being a part of my inspiring life changes journey. To any of you who share my videos as well, thank you very much for doing so. If you want to go ahead and share my videos, that would be brilliant and very much appreciated by you. As well as the playlists, if you're interested in looking at any of my playlists and the information for all of your zodiac signs, there are playlists. So while I haven't been putting out any videos recently, for any of you who are interested, there's no time, no dates on my readings, just a title. So if the title kind of makes sense to you and you watch the video and it feels like it's your story at the time, then it is. Just take it as your story. And if you feel like leaving a comment on the video after you've watched them, or if you want to leave a comment on this one as well, then please feel free to do so, because it is nice to get feedback from people to let me know what's happening in your life and whether or not any of this makes sense to you and whether or not you can relate to it. It would be great to know as well. So I'm going to wish you all the best for this full moon in Taurus, a lunar eclipse, which is a big energy, which is going to see us through to the 2022, possibly round about March energy, before things really kind of finalize on that particular eclipse. But also I will just say that as from January, the nodes are moving out of the sign that they're in, the Gemini energy, and into Taurus and Scorpio. So all of the eclipses as from 2022 are going to happen either in Taurus or in Scorpio. So if you are either of those signs and you want to know more about it, then check out your own astrology chart. Again, link will be in the description below. And so thank you again, and wishing you all the best. Take care.